Hey fellas, so I just got done cutting up all of those logs. Look at all the noodles. In some places too, they're deep, very deep. Got a nice stack of wood over there. Yeah, it's probably close to a cord, about right at it. Once I split it all up and everything, those are big chunks. So I cut them all up and, ooh, look at that hair. I cut them all up and I quartered them all with the MS400. So currently I am on the 6th tank of gas, and I'm probably about 3/4 of the way through it. I don't know, maybe something life-changing is going to happen, but I kind of feel like at this point it's probably broken in because it's running really good. It's just running really good. I mean, and I know some people might. Is that where? Must be the light reflecting. Anyways, I feel like it's probably broken in. I'm going to keep going the way I'm doing with marking those tanks, probably up till 10 or 12 tanks. And if I haven't felt a light switch at that point, then I will say that I'm not going to fill one. And, you know, this could just be me. The way my chain is, the way, you know, the stuff that I'm cutting. It may have broken in whenever I was cutting lengthwise, you know, quartering up these. And, you know, I couldn't tell it because it's always hard on it going like that, you know. Pretty much all saws get bound up and stuff with that. So, I don't know. Maybe it'll come on like a light switch. I know that it did not come on like a light switch with my Echo 590. It just, every time I ran it, I went, man, this thing's running good. I don't remember it running this good. And that's kind of what's happening with this Stihl right now. I'm going, okay, yeah, it's running pretty good. Yeah, it's running pretty good. Whereas before, I was kind of like, I don't know. So anyways, I think, you know, Walt, he watches this channel, or at least some of it, and he's convinced that I'm going to love that little saw, and I am too. Right now it's completely stock. Whenever and yeah, it feels like a ported saw. It really does. It feels really angry and aggressive, but it does not feel torquey. That's why I've been preaching the 20-inch bar on it. But I mean, it's not like it feels like a wimp. No, it feels good. It feels like a ported saw. Feels like you took a 268 and ported it, but you didn't give it any more compression, and your exhaust roof was at 100. That's kind of what it feels like. So it feels really strong and aggressive, really revvy, and I like it. And it feels really good to run. It just doesn't feel like a bar that I would be comfortable putting a saw that I would be comfortable putting a 28-inch bar on. That's it. It feels like, to me, right now, it's a 20-inch saw, maybe a 22, not even a 24. That's what it feels like. But I have different requirements than a lot of people. You know, I'm like, and am I harder on this because it's a Stihl? Probably. Yeah. I'm probably being a little bit unfair to it. I'll admit it. I don't like Stihl, you know. But this is a really nice saw. This is probably the nicest Stihl chainsaw I have ever ran in my life. 500i was really nice too, but it's too big. Yeah, I know it's light for what it is, and it has great power for being as light as it is, but it's still a big saw. This one right here, this is like a jacked up on steroids 60cc saw. So it's pretty cool. I dig it. I dig it a lot. I get hung up on the idea, you know, a few people actually have mentioned on my channel that they don't understand why people care about CCs. They should care about size and weight more. And they're right. They're right. But still, you see that number and it's supposed to be equivalent in power to other 67cc saws. And so that's what's going on. But you know, honestly, it doesn't feel lighter than a 272. I mean, I'm sure it probably is by a small margin, but the 272 feels compact and light to me. It feels really compact and light. I mean, and that's 72 cc's. I think a 272 would knock that thing's dick right in the dirt. A well-ported one, you know. But anyways, I don't know what I'm even saying. I really like the saw. I feel like it might be broken in right now. It might be. But you know, like I said, I'll keep running it probably for another 4 or 5 tanks. To make sure, because if it does have a light switch reaction, you know, break in, I want to feel it. But I don't think it's going to. I think we're probably there right now. Because I mean, I've been being extremely hard on it. I mean, we're talking, I've ran probably seriously 4 full tanks of fuel through it, doing nothing but with the grain cuts, quartering up this big red oak. That's hard on a saw. So if it didn't seat those rings with, you know, at that moment, that's crazy. But I think that, yeah, I think that whenever I do mod this thing is whenever it'll kick it into another gear. Because you got to realize, I mean, at this point, I've ran a lot of really badass saws. I own a 3120. I own a 592. I have the Shindao 757. I've got the Johnson Red 2171. I've got an Echo 800. You with me? So I know what a powerful saw feels like. And so it's hard not to look at this and go, hey, well, it's not that big of a deal. But if I was going from nothing but a 590 to this, oh, look out and shout, man. I would be praising it like crazy. But that's not the case. I've got a lot of really cool saws that run really well. And so I'm holding this thing to probably an unfair standard. I don't know, it's not unfair. It was $1,100. And who out there is buying these things for $800? You're full of it. You know, $800 for one of these things? No. Maybe that's the asking price. Maybe it's $819, and then you add tax on there and everything. But you know, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's this crazy sale going on in your area. They can't sell no chainsaws. But down here in Atlanta, this thing with the 20-inch bar, I think it was $879. $879. And then you would have to pay taxes on that and everything. But I got it with the 25-inch lightweight bar. So that automatically threw it above $1,000. And then taxes are on there too. I was right there sitting right at $1,100. So, but anyways, who cares? The thing is yeah, I am holding it to a very high standard. I am much more critical of this than I am a 590. Because a 590, I mean, hell, the most I've ever paid for a 590 to this date is $225. And that was like almost brand new out of the box. So yes, I am holding this to a much higher standard. And that's why I'm so particular with describing it. You know, if you guys are pros out there and, you know, dropping $1,000, $1,500 on a saw and then turning around and getting it ported for another $300 to $400, you know, you do that a lot. I'm not saying it isn't anything to you. It's still value, but you do that a lot, you know. I don't. And I think there's a lot of people that are out there with me that if they're going to spend $1,100 on a saw, they really expect big things from it. And that's kind of where I'm at, and that's why I'm so critical of it. But as of right now, in this moment, yeah, that's my most enjoyable saw to pick up and run. Yeah, it is. Kind of hurtful to say that, but it's a nice saw. It's just so damn expensive. But yeah, whenever I port it, I mean, and I'm going to port it. Unless Gary Buxton wants to do it for me. You know, I mean, you hear me, Gary? Maybe I'd have you do it, you know, just because that would be cool. I do like having stuff that's ported by other people. But at this point, for a woods port, I think I'm as good as anybody else. You know, just to, you know, because I'm cutting squish. You know, I've been cutting the bases. I'm really learning my own style, feel for things. I'm really getting a good mind for what's going on in the crankcase. Whereas, you know, is it voluptuous or is it flat chested? You know, if there's a lot of room in there, if there's a lot of room in that crankcase, well then I like to have a much larger blowdown, much longer blowdown, because you've got to build that pressure up that's in the crankcase, versus if it's really tight in there, you can go with a much shorter blowdown. And so I'm learning things like that. I'm learning more advanced techniques to porting. You know, a lot of people have taught me a lot, and you know, people say things, you guys say things on the channel, and you know, I definitely don't respond to much anymore. Be lucky if I respond to 20 a day. But you know, whenever you say stuff, it sticks. I remember it. You know, I'm like, I don't remember who said it. I don't remember who said it, who sends me stuff, all that stuff. I don't remember that, but I do remember it being said, and I go, lock that in, and then it comes about. And you know, I mean, I'm not here to prove anything. I'm not here to be actually earn a living based off of porting saws. It is nice to get a job here and there, though. I do take them in. I've got others lined up and stuff. So my point is, I have nothing to prove to anyone. But the proof is in the pudding, like especially with that Poland 4000. That thing runs good. Don't know how it came off the camera, on camera to a lot of you guys, but that thing does really well. And I'm like, man, that thing was a dog. I mean, it wasn't the worst thing in the world, but it wasn't anything special whatsoever. And now it is running like a 64cc saw should. I mean, it kicks it. It really runs good. I'm very happy about that, and I'm proud of that. Learning a lot. You know, guys that have really, even though some of the conversations are a little short, small, but I can't help it. I got to throw out there, you know, of course there's Charlie Briscoe. He puts out great videos. I learn from them. You know, he actually communicates with me. I learn from him, right? Cajun, learned a lot from him. A lot. You know, very helpful to me. Dino Joe has been helpful, even though just little bits and pieces here and there. You know, just a mention of this happens. Well, why are you doing that? And even if I don't ask him, I think about it and I process it, and I go, that's why he's doing that. See what I'm saying? He's the one that taught me why, one of the number one reasons why you can't get as much power out of the Chinese cylinders as you can the OEM, and it's because the nickel seal oftentimes doesn't go all the way up to the combustion chamber, which means you can't cut the squish like you can on the OEM ones, not nearly as far, or you'll hang a ring. And so So little things like that, I'm really learning, and it feels good. It's enjoyable. I'm 46 years old, and no one's going to accuse me. No one that knows me is going to confuse me of being stupid. Put it that way. And at 46 years old, it is so fun to still have something to learn. And I hope that there's stuff for me to learn whenever I'm 86 years old. You know, learning is enjoyable to me. It's very enjoyable. And I'm really having fun with these chainsaws. I'm having fun with that 590. I'm having a lot of fun with that 590. If you've hung in here this long, what my plans are with that 590, and I'll explain it. I'll explain the why. The radical port job that I'm going to do is I'm going to do about 206-ish, 206 on the exhaust height, and I'll probably do 218 on the transfers. So very, very, very short blowdown. Very short blowdown. And I will see if it works. We'll see, you know. But I hope that it does, because I really want to come up with some stuff. Like I was talking to Charlie. About it. Let me do this. Look at this. I'm getting tired holding this phone. So I was talking to Charlie about the 590 and porting it. And he says the very common thing that many, many, many builders say. And he's not wrong. He's right. He said, if you're going to port a 590, then it's useless. It's not worth getting. Just go ahead and get the 620. And he is not wrong. But I told him, I said, the thing is there are a lot of people out there that currently own a 590. You know, they didn't know that they should have bought the 620, or they couldn't afford the 620 at the time. All right. So they've got a 590. So just because it would be better spent money to purchase a 620, does that mean you shouldn't port your 590? There's still a lot of people out there that want to port their 590. They want to port it. And there should be somebody out there that truly figures out what it takes to get power out of those saws. I feel like the last one that I did that was for my buddy back home, I feel like with that one I was already, whenever I was gliding in the cut and it continued to stumble on me, I think that it was because it's already hitting the rev limiter ever so slightly, even in the cut. And so it might be one of those things where I figure out that it is an absolute necessity to get a different coil. I don't know. We'll see. But you know, that pop top piston, the pop top piston from Little Red Barn, I have high hopes for that. I'm going to go ahead and heat treat it before I put it in. And hopefully we have good luck with it. Because it does appear that it is going to be pretty substantial. It's going to be more. There's more material up there, and that's what I feel like those things need. So if that works and it handles the compression and it gets it to where I want it to be, because I want the compression to be up around 200 psi. Doug, I know that you said that the one Charlie built you has 200 psi after it's broken in, or you said it was above. And I don't want to say that anybody's wrong, but I'm not going to believe that until I see it with my own eyes. That's just because I can't. That combustion chamber is so big. I mean, it's a black hole, and I know that Charlie is raising the roof to a 102. And I'm just like, I can't see it. I can't see it. I mean, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying, I got to see this mess. You know what I mean? You've been there, right? But if I can get that 590 with the pop-up piston, somebody, I can't remember who it was. Oh God, was it? Yeah, it was you, Charles. Charles, you sent me the email. I got your pictures, buddy. Charles. No, it wasn't Charles. Shoot. Charles is putting a pop-up piston in his 590, but I don't think he's done it yet. Somebody else sent me a picture, they emailed it to me, of the before and after of the 590 with a pop-up piston. And what they showed me was, before it was 155 pounds of compression, and after it was 180, about 180 pounds of compression. And that sounds about right to me, because I don't think he was running a base gasket or anything. Well, what I'm looking to do is actually mill the base and use the pop-up, because I want it to be above 200, because in order to get it to rev out closer to what it should, it's never going to rev crazy. It's got too long of a stroke. But in order to get it to rev out to where I think it should, I want to be at around 102 on the exhaust roof, maybe even higher, maybe. And, well, every time you go higher on the exhaust roof, you're losing your compression. So, anyways, I want it to be around 200 PSI with a high exhaust roof. If I can get that, she'll scream. She'll run, you know. If I can get 200 PSI with a 101 exhaust roof, she gonna run. She gonna run, and I want the high transfers. You know, I at least want to try it. I at least want to try it. I think that'll work. So anyways, this has gone off the rails. I was talking about that 400, but whatever. If you stuck around this long, then obviously you like listening to me ramble. So, and I appreciate it. All right. Tomorrow will be the Christmas giveaway saw video, as long as the saw runs good. You know, I mean, it is possible that something went wrong and I got to tear that thing back apart, but I don't think it's likely. So tomorrow I'll make the video, and at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I will release the video to the public. And if you want to win that saw, you're going to have to work for it. There's going to be more than one riddle, and you'll have to put all of your answers for all the riddles in one text or post or comment. And the first person to get all of them correct in one comment is the one that's going to win the saw, and they can do with it what they choose. They can either keep it for themselves, or they can have me send it to a loved one, a friend, an acquaintance who is more in need of a saw than you, whatever. So be on the lookout for that. Check you later.